Hey, thanks for stopping by the Xbox basement today. My name is John, and if you've been reading some of these Xbox headlines, it may look to you like it's all just bad news, bad news, bad news. Game Pass losing games, game servers for Xbox games are shutting down, and a major Xbox exclusive jumping over to PlayStation. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into all of this bad news. So as of February 15th, Xbox is losing 7 Game Pass games. And this may cause some people to jump up in alarm. It's only 7 games based on the over 500 on Game Pass Ultimate right now. We've got a little to the left, Bloodstained, EA Sports UFC 3, Indivisible, Merge and Blade, Return to Grace, and Tales of Arise. And aside from one on this list, I actually don't play any of these games. The most popular of these is going to be Tales of Arise, produced by Bandai Namco. This is from their very popular Tales of series. It definitely has that very classic JRPG style, but we shouldn't discount some of these other games that are leaving February 15th. So if you want a chance to actually play these without paying the full price, check out this game list before time is up and give them a play. And speaking of giving things a play, we've got 10 Xbox game servers that are shutting down at the end of this month. Turning off their games here in February, we've got Rory PGA Tour, Divine Knockout, EA Sports UFC 3, which actually goes hand in hand with the last point of that game no longer being on Game Pass. Realm Royal Reforged, Hood Outlaws, Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, Disco Dodgeball Remix, Kart Rider, Golf Club, and Golf Club 2. Now, if you're like me, you may have said to yourself, I haven't even really heard of many of those games. And other than UFC 3 and Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, I've never actually played any of these other games. Now, I notice on this list there's 3 golf games. And golf, just like any other sport, goes year after year. Once a new version comes out, the company that's supporting these game servers are not going to support the older version as much. Now, 2 of these games, Hood Outlaws and Legend and Kart Rider Drift, will no longer function because they are online only games. We've actually been seeing this more and more. It was the Xbox 360 where they first had online only games, and there's been a lot of companies that have tried to capitalize on the Fortnite success of being an online only game. The idea, of course, being it's a totally free game for everybody to download and play, and then there's the microtransaction tax. Now, you really have to ask yourself, are these games really that big of a deal that these servers are shutting down? Because ultimately, this is what we're talking about. Are there enough players still playing this game to justify the servers being open? And after looking at this list, I would say no. There's no huge name title on this, and all of the other big name titles that we've seen shut down have all been older versions, all like on the Xbox 360. So I genuinely don't think this is bad news unless you're one of the players that are still consistently playing these games. And the list for these server shutdown dates are all right here. So if you're consistently playing one of these games, you've got till the end of this month to get as much playtime out of it for online service as you can. And now on to a bit of good news. If you are a player who likes mouse and keyboard support on your Xbox, our good friends over at Xbox KBM have made an entire list of all Xbox games that support your mouse and keyboard. Now, if you're like me and you have a PC that you do your Xbox PC gaming on, this list really might not seem like that big of a deal. But if you are a PC gamer who likes to use their Xbox as a dedicated PC gaming machine, then this list should be absolutely gold to you. Now, there's about 150 games that are good to go right now with mouse and keyboard support native on your Xbox, and this website is actually a user updated list for all of these games. You've got a nice search function right here, a description on when to actually use your mouse and keyboard, is it crossplay with PC, and then the actual option to get it from the Microsoft Store. I think this is super cool. Any type of user supported, user regulated site that's going to go out of its way to support gamers like this, if you're somebody who uses mouse and keyboard, definitely hop over here and join this site because it also supports a user discussion as well. Now, these are games that will support keyboard and mouse. And when we look at the actual Xbox page, filtering by full keyboard support, we can see that Xbox only officially supports about 50 of these games with keyboard, which means there's about 3 times the games that Microsoft officially lists that will have some sort of keyboard and mouse support. So head on over to Xbox KBM and support their website. And just like I promised, it is all back to the bad news. Xbox Game Pass is losing a major franchise after 4 years of day one releases. MLB The Show 25 will be the first in the series to not launch on Xbox Game Pass since 2021. And if you didn't know it, Sony actually makes MLB The Show. Now, it's not to say this game will not be on Xbox, and I feel like we see a lot of titles like this that really just make people panic. I feel like this is one of those titles that make people think that, oh no, Game Pass is failing, or there's something wrong and this game won't come to Xbox at all. Because the way this title is written is saying that Xbox Game Pass is losing a major franchise. And while the title is technically true, it makes the reader believe that Xbox is somehow not going to have this game any longer. It puts a negative connotation into people's minds of saying, hey, don't get an Xbox because your games won't actually play them. The game will be available on Xbox, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch, but here's the kicker, only to purchase. And the story goes like this. There was an issue with the licensing for the Major League Baseball organization that made this game not available on any platform subscription service. So if you're on PlayStation, you won't have access to this unless you actually buy the game as well. And I feel like more than anybody, Xbox gets these dread type of titles saying that something negative is happening to or at Xbox, much more than we see for PlayStation. This article could have easily been titled the same, but just put PlayStation in the place of Xbox. So the lesson here is don't believe all the doom and gloom that you hear, because there is enough doom happening in our game recommendation for today, Merge and Blade. Now, we saw that this game is actually going to be leaving here at the end of February. I've played this game quite a bit. I feel like it's super easy to get into. This is one of those games that's very easy to start to play, but very difficult to master. The premise of the game is that you are trying to defend your tiny pixel kingdom from the evil powers that be. Now, one of the coolest things about this game is that it's actually an auto battler. So as you drop your characters into the game, they will automatically merge together to make stronger fighters. So I feel like this is a combination of a click and point game and then an auto battler, because you don't actually do any type of instructionalized fighting. Each one of your mini sprites has its own unique attacks with powers and defense, and this was one of my favorite games for just playing casually, because as I drop my character in, the game takes care of the rest. Now, that's not to say it's too easy, because there's definitely a challenge that escalates as you go on. I feel like the game is really fairly balanced, with enough variety to keep players interested for quite a few hours. And that's all the Xbox news we have for today. Thanks for stopping by. Give these games a try before they leave Game Pass, and we will see you guys in the next one.